The void beyond the Orion Spire was silent, too silent. Captain Elias Varick of the Star Mule, a battered deep-range salvage hauler, stared at the flickering holodisplay in the dim cockpit. His fingers, calloused from years of jury-rigging broken systems, hovered over the console. The signal was faint, almost lost in the cosmic noise, a repeating distress pulse, encrypted in a frequency he'd never seen before. Not military. Not civilian. Something older. Cairo, Elias muttered, glancing toward the rear cabin. You seeing this? From the cluttered tech nest behind the cockpit, a wiry figure with cybernetic eyes lifted his head. Cairo Nix, former data runner and full-time skeptic, adjusted the glowing lenses embedded in his skull. Yeah. And I don't like it. That pulse isn't just encrypted, it's shielded. Like it doesn't want to be found. Elias leaned forward, the cracked leather of his pilot's chair creaking. Could be a derelict with pre-collapse tech. Or a trap. Or both, Cairo added, pulling up a spectral analysis. Energy signatures off. Low thermal, but high bio-read. Something's alive in there. Elias exhaled slowly. 3 years scraping asteroid belts and scavenging dead freighters had left the Star Mule on the edge of being space junk itself. He was months behind on reactor maintenance, and the Syndicate had already marked his ship for repossession. But salvage rights on unknown tech? That could buy him freedom. Or a grave. Prep the EVA rig, he said, standing. I'm going out. Cairo didn't argue. He just tossed Elias a reinforced suit with a cracked visor and muttered, if you die, I'm selling your boots. Outside, the cold of space wrapped around Elias like a shroud. His mag boots clanked against the hull as he moved toward the grappling point. The object, a sleek, obsidian pod, drifted amid a graveyard of shattered satellites and ancient orbital debris. It was smooth, seamless, as if carved from a single piece of night. No seams. No hatches. Just a faint, pulsing glyph near its base, glowing like a heartbeat. Computer, Elias said through the suit comms, scanned for entry points. No standard access detected. Structural integrity, 87%. Internal life signs, 1. Humanoid. Neural activity erratic. Humanoid? Elias frowned. Not human? Classification uncertain. Biological markers outside known parameters. He reached out, glove brushing the glyph. The moment he touched it, the surface rippled, parting like liquid shadow. A rush of warm air hissed out, carrying a scent like rain on metal. Inside, suspended in a web of bioluminescent filaments, was a woman. She was pale, almost translucent, her skin threaded with delicate lines of silver light that pulsed in slow rhythm. Her hair, black as a singularity, floated in zero-G, framing a face that seemed both young and ancient. Her eyes snapped open, irises like fractured opals, shifting with colors Elias couldn't name. She gasped, clawing at the filaments. Elias didn't hesitate. He cut her free with a plasma blade and pulled her into his arms. She was light, too light, like she barely belonged to this world. Easy, he said. You're safe. She looked at him, trembling. They're coming, she whispered. They'll burn the stars to find me. Back aboard the Star Mule, Elias laid her on the medcot. Cairo ran a full bioscan, his cyber eyes flashing with data. She's not just off the grid, Cairo said. She's off the species list. Her DNA's layered, human, yes, but fused with something synthetic. Nanoweave nervous system. Reflexes 10 times faster than baseline. And her brain? It's not just active. It's networked. Like she's plugged into something vast. Elias watched her sleep. What's your name? He asked when she stirred. She blinked slowly. Lyra, she said. I was supposed to deliver a message. But the relay station fell. I had to flee. They killed everyone. Who did? She shuddered. The Obsidian Circle. They served the Hollow King. He wants the veil broken, the barrier between dimensions. And I was the key. Cairo whistled low. You're not just a fugitive. You're a weapon. I'm a messenger, Lyra snapped, sitting up. And if they catch me, they'll use me to tear open the rift. Billions will die. Realities will collapse. Elias exchanged a glance with Cairo. This wasn't salvage anymore. This was war. Then the alarms blared. Warning, 2 unidentified vessels decelerating at edge of sensor range. No IFF. Weapon systems active. On the view screen, silhouettes emerged from the dark, ships shaped like blades, trailing wisps of dark energy. No lights. No signals. Just silent, predatory glide. The circle, Lyra breathed. They found me. Cairo cursed. We can't outrun them. Their drives are phase-shifted. We'd need a miracle too. Elias was already moving. Then we won't run. He slammed his palm on the console. Engage Shadow Protocol. Cairo stared. You didn't. I did. From the belly of the Star Mule, hidden beneath false plating, a series of micro-emitters activated. A ripple passed through space around them, a localized cloaking field, reverse-engineered from a derelict alien scout ship Elias had found years ago. It didn't make them invisible. It made them ignored. Sensors would slide right over them, as if they were just another piece of debris. The 2 blade ships passed within kilometers, scanning the wreckage field. One paused, rotating slowly, as if sensing something. Lyra's hand trembled. They can feel me. Even cloaked. Elias gripped her shoulder. Then we don't stay hidden. We move. He plotted a course into the Helix Drift, a swirling nebula of ion storms and gravitational eddies, where navigation was suicide for unshielded ships. The drift? Cairo said. You'll kill us all. Better than letting them open the veil, Elias said. Lyra, can you interface with the ship? Boost the NAV computer? She nodded. But only if you let me into your core system. It'll be invasive. Do it. Her fingers touched the console. Instantly, the silver lines on her skin flared, and the ship shuddered. Lights brightened. Sensors sharpened. The AI voice changed, now a whisper, layered with her tone. Neural sync achieved. Tactical overlay active. Course correction initiated. Elias grinned. Now we're flying. As the Star Mule dove into the storm-racked nebula, lightning arcing across its hull, the blade ships hesitated, then followed. Deep within the drift, where space twisted like a serpent, Lyra suddenly gasped. There, she said, pointing to a fissure in the nebula. The Ether Spire. It's a beacon. A failsafe. If I reach it, I can send the warning to the Free Concord, every civilization the Hollow King plans to consume. Elias checked the scanners. The 2 ships were gaining, their phase drives cutting through the storm like knives. We'll never make it, Cairo said. Elias looked at Lyra, at the fear and hope warring in her opal eyes. Then we make sure you do, he said. He began rerouting power, shutting down non-essential systems. What are you doing? Lyra asked. Creating a distraction, he said. You'll take the pod, the modified escape unit I rebuilt last month. It's shielded, fast, and it can slip through the storm if you pilot it right. You're staying behind? I'll lead them the other way. Draw their fire. Buy you time. She grabbed his arm. I won't leave you to die. Elias smiled, a little sadly. 3 years ago, someone left me in a wrecked shuttle with no hope. No one came. I swore if I ever got the chance, I'd be the one who did come. Tears, glowing faintly silver, traced her cheeks. You're more than a messenger, Lyra, he said. You're the spark. And I'm just a match. Outside, the storm raged. Inside, the Star Mule prepared for its final run. The pod launched like a dart from a bow, vanishing into the tempest. Elias turned the ship hard, engine screaming, straight toward the pursuing blades. "Let's see how much fire these old bones can take," he whispered. The chase reignited, a dance of light and fury in the heart of the storm. And far ahead, in the eye of the drift, the Ether Spire waited, silent, ancient, and awake. The Star Mule shuddered violently as it carved through the outer storm front of the Helix drift. Lightning, thick as starship holes and pulsing with colors that didn't belong in any known spectrum, lashed at the ship like the tendrils of some ancient cosmic beast. Alarms screamed in short, panicked bursts before cutting out entirely, their circuits fried by the electromagnetic chaos. Inside, the cockpit flickered between darkness and strobing flashes of violet and gold. Elias gripped the controls, knuckles white, jaw clenched. His eyes darted across the fractured holodisplay, where navigation lines warped and vanished like smoke. "We're losing cohesion," Cairo shouted over the groan of buckling metal. "The hull's not built for this. We're at 38% integrity." Lyra, still linked to the ship's core through her neural weave, gasped. Her body trembled as streams of silver light raced beneath her skin, syncing with the Star Mule's failing systems. "I can stabilize the aft dampeners, but the storm is alive. It's not just energy, it's resisting us." Elias gritted his teeth. "Then we don't ask permission." He slammed the throttle forward, angling the ship into a spiraling descent through a narrow corridor of relative calm, a fleeting eye in the storm, visible only through Lyra's enhanced perception. Behind them, the two blade-shaped vessels of the Obsidian Circle hesitated at the edge of the drift, their phase drives flaring as they recalibrated. "They're not following," Cairo said, voice tight with disbelief. "They can't," Lyra whispered, eyes still closed. "Their drives rely on quantum anchoring. The drift disrupts phase coherence. Only a ship with a living navigator or a dying one can survive this." Elias shot her a look. "You're neither." She smiled faintly. "Not yet." The Star Mule plunged deeper, the nebula closing around it like a living tomb. The stars vanished. The silence between lightning strikes grew longer, heavier, unnatural. Then, without warning, the storm changed. The lightning stopped. The ship coasted forward in eerie stillness, surrounded by a vast, shimmering fog threaded with slow-moving currents of light. The air inside the cockpit grew warm. The light stabilized. Even the groaning of the hull ceased. "What is this place?" Cairo breathed, peering out the viewport. Lyra opened her eyes. They were no longer opal, now they glowed pure white, reflecting the world outside. "This is the Veil's breath," she said, her voice layered with echoes. "The space between spaces. Where the Hollow King's influence bleeds through." Elias leaned back, heart pounding. "And the Ether Spire?" "It's close," she said, pointing forward. "But not just a structure. It's a witness. A sentinel built by the first architects, the ones who sealed the Veil 10,000 years ago." Cairo pulled up a long-range scan. "There's something on the sensors. Massive. Buried in the storm's core. Energy signature. It's not mechanical. It's biological." Before Elias could respond, the ship's AI, still echoing Lyra's voice, spoke softly. "Proximity alert. The spire is awake. It is scanning us." Outside, the fog began to move, coiling into columns, forming arches of light. And at the center, rising from the heart of the nebula, stood the Ether Spire. It was not a tower. It was a tree, but not of wood or leaf. Its trunk was forged from crystallized starlight, its branches stretching into dimensions the human eye couldn't follow. Bioluminescent roots pulsed beneath the nebula's surface, and at its crown, a single orb of shifting color hovered, like a trapped galaxy. Lyra stood, swaying as she broke her connection with the console. "It remembers me." Elias unbuckled. "Then let's go say hello." They suited up in silence. Cairo insisted on bringing the X7 pulse cutter, a weapon he'd salvaged from a dead warlord's vault, capable of slicing through neutronium. "If it's a trap," he muttered, "I'd rather die cutting than begging." Elias carried only his plasma blade and a data spike, a relic from his early days as a corporate runner. If the Spire's alive, he said, it won't care about weapons. It'll care about intent. The airlock cycled open, and they stepped out. Zero gravity gave way to a strange, gentle pull, like walking on a dream. The nebula's light bent around them, casting elongated shadows that moved on their own. As they approached the base of the spire, the ground, though not solid, rippled beneath their boots, responding to their presence. Then, a voice. Not through comms. Not through air. It resonated inside their minds. You carry the marked one. Why? Elias stepped forward. She's not just marked. She's the key. And she's running from those who want to break the veil. A pause. The spire's light dimmed. The key has failed before. Lyra stepped beside Elias. I am not the same key. I was forged in fire. I remember the cost. Do you? The voice grew colder. Then speak the name of the last one who tried to open the gate. Lyra closed her eyes. When she spoke, her voice cracked with grief. Valtherus. My father. A shockwave pulsed through the nebula. The spire's branches flared, and a holographic image erupted from its base, a memory. A man, tall and radiant, standing before a rift in space. Behind him, 1,000 ships burned. He reached into the rift, pulling out a shard of black crystal. And as he did, his eyes turned hollow. Empty. He sought to save his people, the spire intoned. But power corrupted. He became the first Hollow King. And you are his blood. Elias turned to Lyra. You never said. I didn't know, she cried. They wiped my memories. I only remembered fragments, my escape, the pod, the mission. Not that. Cairo backed away. You're related to the guy who started this apocalypse? I'm not him. Lyra shouted, tears glowing silver in her helmet. I'm not here to open the veil. I'm here to seal it forever. The circle has the second shard. They're coming. And if they merge it with the one my father stole, the rift will tear open, and every dimension will bleed into each other. Silence. Then, the spire spoke again. Truth is measured not by blood, but by choice. A root of light extended from the base, forming a platform. On it lay a device, a crown of interwoven light and metal, pulsing with the same rhythm as Lyra's markings. The ether diadem. Worn only by those who can speak to the veil. If you are worthy, it will accept you. If not, it will consume you. Lyra stepped forward, hand trembling. Elias grabbed her arm. You don't have to do this. She looked at him, then at the crown. I do. Not because I'm a princess. Not because I'm his daughter. But because I'm the only one who can. She reached out. The moment her fingers touched the diadem, it exploded with light. The nebula screamed. And somewhere, deep in the void, the two blade ships of the obsidian circle reactivated, emerging from a fold in space, their hulls now wreathed in black flame. The Hollow King's voice echoed across the stars. Daughter, come home. The ether spire pulsed with a deep, resonant hum, its crystalline roots vibrating as Lyra's fingers touched the ether diadem. Light surged, not outward, but inward, collapsing into her like a dying star. Her body lifted off the nebula's strange ground, suspended in a column of iridescent energy. Her silver markings flared, then burned, transforming into intricate patterns that spiraled across her skin like constellations being born. Elias and Cairo staggered back, shields of light erupting from the spire to protect them from the surge. The AI voice of the Star Mule, still echoing Lyra's tone, whispered through their comms. Integration in progress. Neural weave syncing with veil architecture. Warning, rejection will result in total system collapse. Inside Lyra's mind, time unraveled. She stood in a vast, starless chamber, walls made of frozen thought, floors paved with forgotten languages. Before her, a mirror of black glass showed not her face, but 1,000 versions of herself, a child weeping in a throne room, a warrior clad in stormlight, a scientist sealing a rift with her own blood, and finally, a queen crowned in lightning, standing atop a world of ash. A voice, ancient and sorrowful, spoke from the mirror. You carry his blood. But do you carry his choice? Lyra stepped forward. I carry my own. The mirror cracked. Outside, the diadem shattered, not in destruction, but in transformation. It dissolved into a swarm of luminous particles that spiraled around Lyra before sinking into her chest. She gasped, falling back to the nebula's surface, her eyes now blazing with galaxies. The spire spoke again, its voice no longer cold, but awed. The diadem has accepted you. You are not the key. You are the lock. And the veil has chosen its guardian. Elias rushed to her side. Lyra. Are you? I remember, she said, voice layered with power. All of it. She looked up, as if seeing through the nebula, through space itself. The Hollow King isn't just my father. He's a fragment of him. A shard of his soul that escaped when the veil was first sealed. The circle didn't serve him. They created him, using stolen memories, dark tech, and forbidden rituals. They want to merge the second shard with his consciousness. When they do, the rift won't just open, it will consume reality, folding every dimension into a single, endless nightmare. Cairo cursed, checking his scanner. And they're here. On the edge of the nebula, the two blade ships reappeared, but changed. Their hulls were now fused with pulsating black crystal, veins of dark energy throbbing across their surfaces. Between them, a third vessel emerged, a colossal, jagged pyramid wreathed in anti-light, trailing streams of corrupted space. The Obsidian Ark. Daughter, the Hollow King's voice boomed, echoing in their minds, bypassing comms, bypassing thought. You cannot hide from your blood. The diadem is mine by right. The veil will fall. Elias stood, helping Lyra up. Then we don't hide. Cairo pulled out the X7 pulse cutter. We hit him so hard, even a ghost forgets its name. Lyra shook her head. Weapons won't destroy him. He's not just a mind. He's a wound in reality. But I can seal him. If I reach the Ether Spire's core, I can use its power to reinforce the veil, permanently. Elias grinned. Then we get you to the core. Cairo groaned. You mean inside the spire? That thing's not just alive, it's thinking. What if it decides we're the threat? Before Elias could answer, the spire moved. Its roots retracted. Its trunk rose higher, branches folding inward like a closing fist. A doorway of pure light formed at its base. Enter, it commanded. But know this, once inside, there is no return. The core is not a place. It is a state. To wield it is to become part of the veil. Lyra didn't hesitate. Then I'll become more than a queen. I'll become balance. Elias grabbed her arm. I'm coming with you. You can't, she said gently. The core only allows the veil's guardian. But you'll have a part to play. She turned to the Star Mule, still cloaked nearby. The ship's neural sync, it's still linked to me. I can leave a fragment of my consciousness behind. It'll guide you. Protect you. And when the time comes it'll show you how to break the Arkansas. She pressed her palm to his chest, just over his heart. A spark of silver light leapt into him, settling like a whisper in his blood. You'll know what to do, she said. Then she turned and walked into the spire. The light swallowed her. The doorway sealed. Silence. Then chaos. The Obsidian Ark fired. A beam of unlight lanced through the nebula, striking the spire's outer roots. Where it hit, the crystalline structure turned to ash, then nothingness. The spire shuddered, its light dimming. Cairo yelled over the rising hum of the Star Mule's systems. It's attacking the spire. If it breaks the spire, the veil collapses. Elias ran for the ship. Then we give it something else to shoot at. As they launched, the Star Mule roared back to life, not with its old AI, but with Lyra's voice, calm and certain. Course plotted. Target, Obsidian Ark's phase core. Weakness detected at 0.3 second intervals in its energy shield. Timing is critical. Elias gripped the controls. You heard her. Cairo strapped in, pulse cutter ready. Let's go punch a god in the face. The Star Mule shot forward, weaving through the storm, dodging tendrils of dark energy. The two smaller blade ships broke formation, diving to intercept. Cairo, Elias said, you remember that time on Cygnus 9 when we stole a fusion core from a syndicate vault using a gravity slingshot and a bag of space mice? Cairo grinned. How could I forget? You said it was insane. Elias hit the thrusters, angling the ship into a spiraling dive. This is more insane. He fired the Shadow Protocol, not to hide, but to multiply. The cloaking field pulsed, creating 3 perfect decoys of the Star Mule, each moving in different directions. The blade ships hesitated, then split to pursue the false signals. Now! Elias shouted. He cut the engines, letting the real ship drift silently behind a curtain of ionized gas. The Star Mule emerged directly above the Obsidian Ark, its belly facing the pyramid's exposed core, a swirling vortex of black fire. Firing sequence in 5-4. Lyra's voice counted down. Elias armed the X-7. Cairo, ready to make history? Cairo stood in the cargo bay, the pulse cutter humming in his hands. Just promise me one thing. What? When this is over we find a planet with actual beaches. And drinks with little umbrellas. Elias smirked. Deal. 3, 2, 1. Fire. Cairo launched himself from the bay, jetpack flaring, diving toward the Ark's core like a comet. Below, the Hollow King's voice rose in fury. You are nothing. You are no one. But inside the Ether Spire, Lyra stood at the heart of creation. She was no longer just a woman. She was the lock. And she was about to turn. The Hollow King's voice tore through the void, a sound that wasn't sound, more like a wound in reality itself. Daughter, you cannot seal what was never broken. The veil is not a wall. It is a lie. Inside the Ether Spire, Lyra stood at the core, a vast, pulsing chamber shaped like a collapsing star. The air shimmered with forgotten languages, and the floor beneath her feet was not solid, but a lattice of light, vibrating with the rhythm of 1,000 dying suns. The ether diadem had fused with her consciousness, and now she saw, not just the present, but every thread of time that led to this moment. She saw her father, Valtherus, not as a monster, but as a man who had tried to save his people from a dying universe. He had reached into the rift not for power, but for hope. And in that moment of desperation, the rift had answered, not with salvation, but with corruption. It had taken his soul and twisted it into the Hollow King, a being of pure hunger, feeding on the fabric of dimensions. And now, it was coming. Outside, the Star Mule spiraled toward the Obsidian Ark, Cairo clinging to the hull, the X-7 pulse cutter blazing in his hands. The weapon hummed at maximum charge, its core glowing white-hot. He slammed it into the Ark's phase core, a swirling vortex of black fire, and screamed as the energy surged through him. The Ark shuddered. But it did not break. Fool, the Hollow King boomed. You strike a shadow. I am not in the Arkansas. I am in the rift. And I am here. A tear split the sky. Not in space. In existence. A jagged wound opened above the nebula, bleeding darkness. From it poured not light, not matter, but absence, a tide of anti-reality that consumed the stars around it. The Obsidian Ark began to dissolve, not destroyed, but unmade. Elias fought the controls, trying to pull the Star Mule back, but the ship was caught in the rift's pull. Cairo's body went limp, the pulse cutter shattered, its energy spent. Then, silence. The rift stilled. And from within it, a figure emerged. Not a ship. Not a machine. A man. Tall, cloaked in shifting shadows, his eyes hollow voids. But when he spoke, his voice was not a roar, it was a whisper. Lyra, my child. You do not have to die for their lies. Inside the spire, Lyra stepped forward, tears of silver light streaming down her face. You're not my father. You're what took him. I am what he became. And you will join me. Together, we can remake all things. She shook her head. No. I won't let you turn me into a weapon. I won't let you turn the universe into a tomb. She raised her hands. The ether diadem flared. The spire responded. Its roots plunged deeper into the nebula, anchoring not to space, but to the concept of stability. Its branches reached into the higher dimensions, weaving a net of light across the rift. The veil began to stitch itself back together. But the Hollow King laughed. You seal one rift, but the others remain. The circle has already opened doors on 1,000 worlds. The end is inevitable. Lyra closed her eyes. And made her choice. She stepped into the core. Not to control it. To become it. Her body dissolved into light, merging with the spire, with the veil, with the very fabric of balance. The last thing she saw was Elias's face, his hand pressed to the spire's outer shell, as if trying to hold her back. I'm not running, she whispered, though no sound could reach him. I'm staying. The rift collapsed. The nebula stilled. The star mule drifted, lifeless, in the sudden calm. Elias woke to the sound of breathing. His own. Cairo groaned beside him, half buried in debris, his cybernetic eyes flickering back online. The spire Elias croaked. Lyra. Cairo pointed. Where the ether spire had stood, there was now a star, small, newborn, pulsing with a soft, golden light. And around it, the nebula had changed. The storm was gone. In its place, a field of glowing motes drifted like fireflies, each one carrying a faint image, Lyra's face. A smile. A whisper. A promise. The star mule's AI sparked to life, Lyra's voice, gentle, final. The veil is sealed. The Hollow King is gone. But the circle remains. Watch for the signs. Trust the light in others. And remember, I chose this. Not for war, but for peace. Then, silence. Years passed. The Star Mule became a legend, a ghost ship said to appear in the darkest reaches of space, rescuing the lost, delivering warnings, vanishing before gratitude could be given. Elias never left the cockpit. He charted the stars, watching for disturbances, for signs of the circle's return. Cairo rebuilt himself, piece by piece, becoming more machine than man, but never losing his humor, his loyalty. And above the helix drift, the new star burned. Scientists called it Lyra's light. Children across 100 worlds told stories of the woman who became a star to save them all. And on the day the first human ambassador was welcomed into the United Stellar Concord, an old salvager in a worn pilot's chair smiled, watching the ceremony on a cracked screen. Beside him, a single mode of light hovered, warm, golden, familiar. He reached out. It danced on his fingertip. Still watching over us, he whispered. The light pulsed once. Then faded. But not gone. Never gone. For in the quiet between stars, and the kindness of a stranger, and the courage to choose what's right over what's easy, the light remains. And so does she.